Yeah, let's light this candle. I'm talking about Patreon. You haven't heard it? It's Patreon. Ticket Price Podcast. We're on Patreon. I'm doing a new Patreon intro. I'm Jake. That's Tevis. We're Ticket Price. Ticket Price Podcast. Patreon. You can tune into our episodes. We get comment sections. Ticket Price Top 10 Tuesdays. Check them out. Bonus content. Moments in horror. We got it all. Patreon. Ticket Price Podcast. Jake Tevis. Ticket Price. Patreon. Loud noises. Let's burn this candle. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever it is you're tuning in. Welcome to Ticket Price. I'm Jake. That's Tevis. And with us, special guest, writer and noted female, Sara. Welcome back to the studio, Sara.
I'm still tied to this chair. I haven't had food or water in 3 days. Please, someone help me.
It's the only way we can get guests.
By force. Like Rocky getting dates. All right. Jab. Jab, jab, jab.
Zing!
Jab, 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 jab.
Zing!
If you don't know what we're talking about, Sara was kind enough to give us some expert analyses and female perspective on the movie Rocky as we revisited that turd in a segment we were calling What We Got Wrong. Tevis, were we wrong?
Partially.
A little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's not what we're talking about today. As part of our agreement for Sara to come on and do that episode, we also agreed to let her pick the next film that we're talking about. Sara, you wanna let everyone know what we watched for this week's episode?
I feel like Jacob is going to kill me during this podcast. So I made...
Just Jacob?
Well, much like Dr. Loomis, if you just turn to your left just a little, you will see the killer right there.
So we are taking a look at While You Were Sleeping,
Yes.
rom-com that...
That's enough.
That's okay.
So,
All
the
right.
1995, this is my show, thank you. I'm going to need you to pump your brakes. I let you talk during the last one. This is my show, thank you.
I just want to...
I don't care.
I want to ask
No,
a question.
My
I
show.
want to ask a question. Is rom-com an appropriate term for this movie?
Well, you know what? Hold on. Can I ask you to hold on to that question?
Let's put a pin in
Put
it.
a pin in it. We'll talk about it at the end. Let's talk about the movie first.
Oh, yes, okay. That's the way the show works.
The 1995 movie that came out in 95.
Rom-com.
Is it? We'll get there.
We'll put a pin in that. We'll get back to
Boom.
that.
Pinned. Rom-com ? Pin on the board. Written by Daniel G. Sullivan and Frederick LeBeau. Directed by John Turtletaub. Best last name in the business for Turtletaub. The only way you can say it, too. I'm pretty sure. Starring Sandra Bullock and Bill Pullman. Ratings. See what you guys think of this. IMDb giving it a 6.8. Rotten Tomatoes, 81%.
What in the actual fuck?
I thought the same thing. 6.8, that's fair. Maybe a smidge high for my taste, but that's fair. 81% Rotten Tomatoes? Have you lost your damn mind?
Jacob just threw his notes across the room.
I didn't throw them across the room, Mom. I dropped them up trying to set them on the desk. Don't be dramatic about it. You're not even my real mom. But no,
Aren't you supposed to say, like, leave me alone, bro?
No, why would I say that?
I don't know. That's what
Do I strike you as a person that would say that?
you're talking to your mom? I don't know.
I'm so confused right
I'm
now.
old enough that we say the full brother, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
But no, 81. That is way too high. Objectively, that's way too high. Tevis?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Sara?
I will say it seems a tad high.
Seems a smidge high.
6.8 sounds right for this.
6.8, yeah.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
sounds right for this
Yeah.
movie. I can see that.
I'd even go up to like a 7.1 if you want, if we wanted to give it some breathing room.
Right, yeah.
But 81? Absolutely not. Foreigner didn't even get 81. That movie has Jackie Chan and Pierce Brosnan giving some of the best performances of their careers. At least I don't think it did. I don't recall. I could look back in my notes, but I don't care because we're moving on. With a budget of estimated $17 million and a worldwide gross of $182 million, it had 4 award wins with an additional 5 nominations. And I'm not going to lie to either of you or anyone listening, either of you. All 4 of you. I'm lying to no one. I have never heard of any of these awards before in my life. And I didn't write them down because I don't care.
That's reassuring on the awards part.
Yeah, I mean, so it does have award wins and nominations, but I've never heard of these before. Our man Ebes,
He liked it, didn't he?
3 stars.
3!
Okay. What would you have given it, Tevis?
Not 3!
Our man Ebes. So, you've listened to our episodes.
Yeah.
You know that Tevis and Roger Ebert have a troubled history
They
on the
do
show.
indeed, yes.
What he declared? He said it was one of those movies that blindsides you with its charm. Even Sarah's not buying that one. This was her pick.
Yeah, she's laughing harder at that than anybody
Oh
else.
my goodness.
Well, Variety magazine described it as a bunch of phony baloney, consummate in its dishonesty, yet effective in the manner of a master illusionist. Very few viewers will bristle at the trickery, and most will enjoy its clever ruse.
Wow.
So one person said, it seems like crap, but then all of a sudden, charm just hits you like a bus when you're trying to cross the street. And the others are like, this is smoke and mirrors bullshit. You know what, Sarah? We'll let you start. What is your history with this movie? And
Okay.
why did you make us watch it for this week's episode?
Okay. So, I think I watched this movie when I was first in college. And I
So
was
like 2 years ago.
no, like my freshman year. It was either my freshman or sophomore year of college.
Like 3 years ago.
No. This would have been 2017 or 2018.
4 years ago.
Thank you.
And I don't know, I was just in the mood for, just something different. And I usually like movies that have Sandra Bullock in it. So I was scrolling on Netflix on one day and I saw this movie. I was like, while you were sleeping, and I was like, what's this about? Because the title kind of intrigued me. I was like, what is that supposed to mean? And then I watched it, and I will watch it when I want to laugh, and I will watch it because Tevis is making a face and I feel like I need him to talk.
Nope. Please continue your
Okay.
history. We will sit here and stew.
No, that's basically my history. I watched it out of I don't know. I just wanted to watch something that I hadn't seen before, and it was on Netflix.
With your favorite Sandy B.
I do like Sandra Bullock as a. I just forgot a word.
Actress! Performer! Holiday! So Tevis, what is your history with this movie as your eye twitches as you think about Sarah's history?
I got this movie mixed up with Sleeping with the Enemy.
Very different movie.
Very different movie. So I was kind of excited when you told me this is what we were watching.
Because you thought it was going to be Sleeping
And
with
then
the
I thought
Enemy.
it was Sleeping with the Enemy. And then I looked back at the text you sent me. I was like, wait a minute. I've seen this before.
Had you really?
Yes. I don't remember when. I just remember that I'd seen it. And it was one of those, you watch it and it's gone. I don't have any fond memories of it. I don't have any huge dislike for it. But I wish it was Sleeping with the Enemy.
But as far as we know, Sleeping with the Enemy didn't have an 81 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, Roger Ebert probably hated it. What about your history?
I have zero history. I had never heard of this movie until Sarah said we should watch while you were sleeping. And somewhat comically, I got the name wrong when people were like, what are you watching next? And I got the name wrong every single time. And I only got it correct now for the show because it's written out on my paper. I wrote it out. These are correct notes. This note is correct. While you were sleeping, that is the name of this movie that I watched. Definitely watched.
I think that's
super
so
watched
funny.
it because it was like, it's like I watched you while you were sleeping, or I don't know. I never heard of this movie before. I have no history. So then everyone's like, well, it's about. I'm like, nope, shut up. It's not crazy often that we get to watch a movie that I know nothing about. So I wanted to go into it completely blind. And then when I was like, oh, it's Sandra Bullock and Bill Pullman, that's a bit of a bummer for me. I'm not going to lie to anybody because I don't like Sandra Bullock and I do not think she's a good actress. But that's neither here nor there. So I went into it open-minded. I was prepared. Although, it's bad when my wife goes, feel free to start this one without me. Don't feel like you have to wait.
Oof.
And then I went, ooh, yeah.
Ooh.
So I waited for her so
Had
she could
seen it before?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
She said that you guys owned it at one point, right? You had a DVD.
She may have owned it at one point.
Yeah.
I have never seen this movie until the one time I watched it for this show.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. My wife owned a lot of DVDs back in the day. So, no, it's but no, I went into it totally cold, knowing nothing except questionable actors leading the charge. So, are we ready to dive in? Does anybody have any comments before we dig through this one? So we swim through its vast oceans of content, of hot, hilarious content.
I think I'm ready.
I'm ready.
All right. We start with a flashback as Sandy, we're tight. I call her Sandy. Narrates a flashback of her life as a little girl with her dad, and she never knew her mom. And then her dad, they dreamed of travel and whatever. And her dad got sick and whatever. And then she's talking about her life and how things are going. And two very prominent thoughts came to my head. The first, why does this look and sound exactly like an episode of the Gilmore Girls? If you had played this intro with no context and said this was Sandra Bullock's audition for Lorelai Gilmore for Gilmore Girls, I'd have been like, oh, 100%, because the writing and the acting sounds exactly like Gilmore Girls, so I'd have believed it. And then also, our main character, Lucy, is she a loser?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's pretty.
She's just
on
a
point.
colossal loser, but not like one I feel bad for, like... She's just a loser.
Well, she apparently has no family or friends.
Why doesn't she have friends? That's on her.
Well, she has that friend that's in the booth with her.
Right. She has Celeste.
Okay.
And her boss.
And her boss, Jerry, which I would argue that she's a little bit closer to Jerry than she is with Celeste.
Yeah, you don't see Celeste until
The New Year's party.
like halfway through the movie.
Yeah, when she finally is like, girl, and like gives her a hug, I'm like, who the hell is that?
Yeah. I didn't even know there was anybody in the booth with her.
Yeah, I thought it was a single booth.
I did too.
I'm sorry, because this comes up. It came up in Rocky. It's coming up now. Making friends is not this hard. And if you find yourself in a situation where you're like, I don't have any friends, you either do have friends and you're too much in a dark psychological state to see and recognize and appreciate that, or you're a fucking loser and you just need to go out and talk to someone. There's a world of people who share your interests. Find one. It's not that hard. Quit being a loser. Anywho, then we get to meet her very Chicago landlords, who I definitely mistook as New Yorkers at first.
Yeah.
Joe Jr.?
Joe and
Oh,
Joe
I'm
Jr.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Joe-
You mean Paulie as a young man.
Young Paulie and his dad.
Yes.
I literally wrote in my notes, I hate Joe Jr.
I hate everything about Joe Jr.
Joe Fusco Jr.
I can picture you turning out like Joe Jr. in a different life. Like if instead of becoming funny and bitter, if you just became real obnoxious and up your own ass, you could have been Joe Jr.
Thanks.
But no, the world beat you down and made you realize certain truths, and now you're on the show with me. So just think, your life could have ended up as it currently is, or as Joe Jr.
Tomorrow, I'm going to dress like Joe Jr.
Oh my
did
gosh.
with the short white T-shirt,
The necklace and the
yeah, and the jeans that are unbuttoned, so that when
And
you bend over
saggy.
to
Oh my gosh. Oh
I want
my
you to
gosh.
just strut into work. Tell me you don't make all the friends, because making friends isn't that hard, Lucy. Damn. So she talks about in her inner monologue intro about this guy that she is, air quotes, in love with, her words, not mine, who she only knows because, you know, he has subway tokens, gives her tokens.
it doesn't say a word.
Doesn't talk to her, doesn't acknowledge her existence. She could literally be a robot.
Well, in all honesty, he's probably worried about trimming those giant ass eyebrows.
I have all caps in my notes on one line, his eyebrows.
Wrap me up and take me home in those bad boys.
Oh my gosh.
Jesus.
They are an inch thick, like wide on
Yeah.
his forehead.
They get on the train 3 minutes before he does.
Guys are just jealous of a good-looking man. Or as my wife said, him with his giant eyebrows and his big fish lips.
That's yeah. I feel like there are obviously a lot of unrealistic things that happened in this movie, but one of them is the fact that Lucy finds this man attractive.
Yeah, but he's like a C-list Hollywood heartthrob. He was in he was the dad in that one teenage drama.
Gilmore Girls?
No.
I don't know.
Actually, maybe.
I've never seen Gilmore Girls.
And he was in New Girl with Zooey Deschanel. They kiss a little bit. Like he plays a heartthrob in most things. Yeah.
So does he like use his eyebrows to grab her cheeks and pull her in?
Actually, I think they make a joke
kiss?
about that. Yeah. About
Oh my
wrapping her
goodness.
up and taking her home in them. Yeah, something like that.
Jesus.
But he ends up getting harassed while waiting for the train and falls onto the tracks. Oh, what is that? The L is coming, and he's about to get. Now he fell like 3 feet and is dead ass unconscious. He didn't even hit the rail, man. Just get up.
He hit his head.
He did. He landed. He must have landed on it or something.
Well, he fell backwards.
Yeah.
But then he has a big gash on the
On his
front of
forehead.
his head. I'm like, wait a minute.
Because we all know if he had fell face down, then he would have bounced back up onto the platform thanks to his eyebrows.
Been like airbags.
So yeah, he hits the back of his head, but the cuts on his
The cut was actually probably from when she rolls him over
could
the
be.
railing.
Yeah.
Or over the rails back.
But
to
I want
safety.
to back up for a second because the first thing she does when she jumps down on the tracks is she sniffs him and she's like, "Gosh, you smell good."
Yeah.
What in the world?
Because it's funny, Sarah. It's funny. That's humorous.
Did you laugh, Jacob?
This movie made me forget what laughter was.
When I saw that part, when she did that, I went,
What a creepy loser. Not only is Lucy a loser, she's a creep. Just sniffing unconscious guys. What? Why are you guys looking at me like that? That's what happened. I'm not making this up. I watched it happen. Anyway, she grabs him by his expensive overcoat, rolls him off the tracks, narrowly avoiding the train, saves his life. And then he does that like real cheesy, like he's going to wake up, but then his eyes cross and his tongue kind of lolls out a little bit. And then he falls unconscious again. I'm like, no one loses consciousness like that.
Well,
that's not how that happened.
when he opens his eyes, she goes, "Hi."
And then he's like, "Ugh," and
probably from her breath. You know, she eats like tuna with no bread, no sandwich.
just out of the can.
Just hot tuna.
Hot tuna and coffee.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a book title in there somewhere.
Hot tuna and coffee.
Yeah.
That's
Sarah, you're working on a writing project, are you not? You're a writer.
I am a writer, but I would not call my story Hot Tuna and Coffee.
You wouldn't until now. You're welcome. You can have that one for free because I am a published author.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I know these things. I know a hot title when I hear one.
Okay.
Yeah, I know these things.
All right.
I'm basically an expert.
Right.
Did you know my book won an award?
I did.
So when I tell you Hot Tuna and Coffee is an award-winning title.
Did you forget that I helped edit your book?
I'm pretty sure no one helped me on that, and that was just 100% solo act.
Right.
Thank you all.
Okay.
And by all, I mean me. She saves eyebrows. Right? I forget his name.
Peter.
Jack's the brother. Yeah, Jack's the brother. She saves Peter Pumpkin Eater.
Peter is the character's name, but also the actor's name.
His name is Peter Gallagher, and his name in the movie is Peter Callahan.
We talked about this in The Shining. I don't know why it's a pet peeve of mine when actors play characters with the same first name. It confuses me. I'm a simple man, and I can't handle it.
I prefer the name Eyebrows.
So she saves eyebrows.
Right.
And they go to, well, obviously he's taken to the hospital, and then she goes for reasons.
I think she has to make a statement because she's the one who saved him.
Yeah, because the police officer
Yeah, but
tries to talk to her.
That would have been done at the scene.
Well, but no one was going to be on probably the ambulance with him, so they were probably asking her to go with him.
I got a feeling she probably forced her way on top of him. I mean, in the ambulance.
So she could, sniff him more.
Yeah.
So then they're like, sorry, ma'am, friends and family only. You can't come in. And then she's like monologuing to herself out loud like a loser about, great, the man who's going to be my fiance falls off the track and this is my luck. And I'm like, this isn't about you. The man almost died.
Well, she says, I was going to marry him.
Yeah. And then the nurse overhears and it's like, oh, you're his fiance. Well, right this way. And I'm like, classic sitcom understanding or misunderstanding.
Mm-hmm.
Three's Company.
Yeah. It's Young Guns all over again where I'm like, this is supposed to be a movie, but it's not. This is definitely just a TV show.
Yeah.
And I mean that negatively.
I would also like to point out that the day that this happens is Christmas, and Lucy was forced to work Christmas
because she's alone. Because she's alone and has no family.
Doesn't have any family. And I thought that was really crappy of her boss.
That's cold.
That's cold, man.
That's cold as ice.
So it happens on Christmas.
Right.
But Eyebrows is going to work on Christmas.
Right.
Yes.
What does he do?
He's supposed to be a lawyer, I think.
He's a lawyer.
He's a lawyer.
There ain't no lawyer working on Christmas.
That's true. Well, unless maybe he works for a big company and he's like real low on the totem pole. He hasn't been made partner yet. So he does all the bitch work.
I don't think by what his apartment looks like, I think he's pretty high up.
Yeah. Well, they needed eyebrows to fall on the track. I don't know what to say. But you're right. Yeah. A lawyer paid that well. He ain't working the week of Christmas, let alone Christmas Day.
And the only reason I remember this was on Christmas Day is because when the parents show up, the mother is like, he's in a coma on Christmas Day.
It's so bad. You know what I first thought when I saw the parents show up? Surprise, Peter Boyle! Surprise, Peter Boyle!
I thought I was watching an episode of Everybody Loves Raymond.
Loves Raymond, or Young Frankenstein, or whatever else Peter Boyle did.
Dream Team. He was in the Dream Team.
I don't know what that is.
Look it up.
I'm busy right now.
Google.
I am exceedingly busy, and I need my hands because I talk with my hands a lot on this podcast, and no one can see me, so my gestures are meaningless. I'm a deeply troubled man. So
we were at the hospital.
They let her stay, and then everyone's like, you're his fiance? Peter didn't say anything about having a fiance. You're his fiance?
So everyone is talking all at once, and she can't get a word in because his family
she wouldn't have anyway.
Out. Well, she's standing in the corner, and she's like putting up her finger like, wait. And everyone is like collaborating like, oh my gosh. Gosh, it's like this man is in a coma. First of all,
he can't.
It's not about that. Second of all, Why doesn't Lucy say anything? She just stands there like she lost all the ability to speak
Yeah.
in a single moment.
Doesn't she say, too, that she didn't want to say anything to them because of the grandmother?
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
Would have a heart attack.
Yeah, grandma starts to sit down slowly. And
What was the grandmother's name?
Eloise? No, something like that.
Bitch. I don't know.
think
They
it
only
was-
called her that in the bedroom.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means.
Do you know who the grandmother was?
No.
The actress?
No.
She played Mrs. Banks in Mary Poppins.
Never seen Mary Poppins.
You've never seen Mary Poppins.
Do I look like someone that grew up with Mary Poppins? Do I seem like a well-adjusted sugar spoonful of medicine bullshit taking some bitch? No, I don't.
I need that line on a t-shirt.
I don't know what I said. Do I look like someone who grew up watching? No, my brother was like, here, let's watch this. It's The Exorcist. And I was like, my word. I'm too young for this.
Well, it's on Disney Plus. So
I only watched 2 things on Disney Plus.
while you were sleeping,
My daughter loves Cars,
Oh, Cars.
and I hate my life for that. And then when everyone's gone, I watch Bluey. Because Bluey is the greatest children's show to ever be made.
I do enjoy me some Bluey. Although I have company when, and a 10-year-old girl who is my daughter. I had to say that before it sounded awkward.
You really needed to add that, yeah. So, how often do you have 10-year-old girls over, Tevis?
Okay.
You lure them over with candy and episodes of Bluey? So, this is just, it's a classic rom-com or sitcom like misunderstanding. The family ultimately leaves. She stays. Why does she stay? That's an enigma to everyone. And she then begins to bare her soul to a comatose stranger about being a loser because she's a giant loser.
Doesn't she leave? She leaves with them, right? Because she goes to talk to the nurse, and she's like, I'm not the fiance.
That's later. That's like the next day or the day after. She doesn't tell the nurse till later.
I thought it was the same day.
No. That tidbit doesn't come out till later. I have it in my notes.
Okay. Well, either way, I thought she went home and she couldn't sleep, which is even worse. I think this is even worse. She went home, she couldn't sleep, so she goes to see the man in the coma.
No.
And
Oh, yeah, in the middle of the night.
in the middle of the night.
And that's when Godfather Saul overhears her confession, basically.
Yeah.
So he knows.
Yeah.
So what, does Saul uncover the ruse? No, he makes it worse.
He tells her not to tell.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? No, we're just going to keep this lie going. I'll take care of it.
Yeah, he keeps telling her, I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it. I'll tell him.
That's way later though. He just tells her to not tell them, and then she goes to the Christmas party or the belated Christmas party, And I just have one question, because when they were inviting her to the Christmas party, they mentioned Jack, right? And they're like, Jack's gonna be there, so you should meet Jack. And then she gets there, Jack doesn't come until way after the festivities are done. He doesn't show up until after everyone's gone to bed.
Yeah, but that's not their fault. He probably just showed up late because he didn't want to socialize at the party, because that's what I do when I go to family gatherings.
Yeah, but I don't even think nobody even found out where Jack was or cared where Jack was. They're all just passing around presents.
Right.
And like, here, look, we got you this. Lucy, we got you a present. Look, here's this.
She gets
here's
a
that.
present.
They're all opening them.
Yeah.
And nobody's like, well, where's Jack? Can somebody call and see if he's home?
There are 2 brothers, and he's the one they don't love. Every family that has brothers has one they love and one they don't love. And I don't wish to elaborate how I know that. So moving on.
Oh, okay.
We get a scene in
Well,
Wow.
we get a scene in Eyebrows' apartment because he has a message on his answering machine. The actual fiance.
well, that's not till way later.
Are
Are we going in order? Do we go in order on
Yes.
this show?
Grandfather knows. Then we get the scene where the fiance calls the first time. She calls a couple of times. Then she's going through, because before she leaves the hospital, they give Lucy a box of Peter's stuff, eyebrows' stuff,
Right.
whichever brother it is. I don't know. She gets a box of his stuff, and she's going through his stuff, and she goes through his wallet, and it's just full of photos of himself. And I wrote, what a douche.
Yeah, I was going to say, Peter is not a good guy. He's completely full of himself. And then later you find out he did a bunch of bad things.
He's a bad guy.
He's a bad guy.
Yeah, even in his apartment, there's a photo on the counter.
Right.
Of him.
I'm
right
like,
next to the telephone.
Like, what the hell?
I do want to point out that after the hospital visit with the guy, she runs to her boss, Jerry, right, to explain the situation that she's in. And I think this is where my favorite line of this movie is because she confides in him and she wants to tell the family, but even Jerry is like, I don't think you should tell them, because she's telling him that grandma has a heart problem. And then he says, when my mother found out I was getting married to my wife, her intestines exploded. Now you tell them now, you might as well shoot grandma. Oh my gosh.
Also, who pronounces
Jerry.
it intestines? It's intestines. What is
That's
wrong
the
with
way
you?
Jerry pronounced it.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure.
Her intestines. What?
Her intestines
Intestines.
exploded.
What are you talking about?
I love that.
That was my favorite line in the whole movie. I crack up laughing every time.
This whole movie is just a weird mix of like a Lifetime movie and a bad sitcom. Yeah.
So there's a part where Lucy is getting on the elevator and this guy runs into her.
Right. Yeah.
And he goes on about the accident. And they're like, what? Did he say it was my fault? He goes, or something. They're kind of going back
his
and forth.
colleague. Yeah.
Yeah.
He goes, well, I'm a lawyer. I have pencils. And I was like, what in the hell are they talking about? And then later on, we find out.
Well, they were like, okay, well, obviously, because at this point, Jack has come around and he's trying to prove that Lucy is not Peter's fiance.
Right.
He's the only one that's like, this is weird. We should probably do something about this weird lady hanging around with our family.
Yeah.
So he's looking into it and he's like, he's trying to prove that she's not his fiance. And one of was it the mom or the grandma was like, well, if she wanted to prove it, she'd prove it.
Yeah, the grandmother says that.
Yeah. And so she's like, well, and it seems like, I don't know, he's like, he has one testicle. And everyone's like, what? And that's when she's like, well, he was playing basketball about a month ago. And there's a guy on the court with pencils in his pocket, whatever. And then everyone's like, well, I mean, we have to.
Yeah.
They're like, we have to know.
This poor man.
We have to find out.
Is in a coma and his mom violates him.
Whoa. That might be coming on a little too strong, Sarah. Although she does utter the words, I'm his mother, I'll do it.
Yes. And
because no one wants to take a peek at Peter's goods.
And I don't
Except
know.
Lucy.
You can't tell all the time just by looking.
Yeah, but if it was a month ago, it's still probably going to look like a testicle wound.
Well,
I don't know.
I think that it's implied that they removed it.
Right.
Yeah.
But what Tevis is saying is by sight alone, you can't always tell.
Okay.
So he's insinuating that the mom went
gosh.
in. I would love you to stop moving your fingers like that. like you're testing the firmness of a pear.
I would also like to point out that this movie has a lot. I'll wait for Tevis to get his.
No, you just have to talk over him.
God. That hurts. My intestines hurt.
Not your intestines. My God.
I swear that's the way he pronounced it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, sure. I'm sure it was.
Anyway, there are a lot of times in this movie where...
A lot of times in this movie? Yeah!
Oh. Okay.
Got her. Kobe.
You heard a lot of times in this movie.
Oh, I misunderstood.
In this movie where there seems to be like a lot of small details that come up later, like when Jack gets into the apartment and Lucy is in there trying to feed the cat because she found cat food in Peter's stuff and assumed that he had a cat. And so she goes to his apartment to feed the cat, and then she runs into Jack. Well, she basically puts a door through his head. But
Yeah.
So she's getting ice, and then you see the ice cream.
Yeah, the weird product placement.
Baskin Robbins.
Baskin Robbins.
Baskin Robbins, because Peter's favorite ice cream is like chocolate peanut butter.
But Baskin Robbins is not a flavor. My favorite ice cream is not Great Value. My favorite ice cream is Blue Bunny.
Right. But
so when they do ask, they're like, well, because Jack is like, well, what do you know about him? What's his favorite Three Stooges? Which in the Three Stooges, which one is his favorite? And she's like, Curly. And he's like, Psh, everyone knows that everyone's favorite is Curly. What's his favorite ice cream? Baskin Robbins. To Tevis' point, that's not a flavor. That's a brand. What's your favorite cereal? Post. What?
I also thought it was hilarious that I don't know how old Peter is supposed to be in this movie, but his favorite song of all time is Puff the Magic Dragon.
Yes.
I
forgot about that too.
I forgot about that.
Favorite song in the entire world is Puff the Magic Dragon.
It only could have been worse if he would have loved the Barney song.
Right? What's your favorite song? Reading Rainbow.
Like, of all the songs out there, that is your favorite.
All right. Hot track, guys. So there's a show called Schoolhouse Rock.
Oh my gosh.
This bill is about to become a law, and it's straight fire.
Have you heard the remix?
I'm just a bill. Yeah, I'm only a bill. Straight
and I'm
fire.
sitting here on Capitol Hill.
Don't continue my jokes. Don't. I'm a solo act.
Please continue.
So, Jack's trying to uncover the truth, played by Bill Pullman. And I typically like Bill Pullman.
He was no president in this one. Like, he did not impress me much at all.
He was not trying to hunt down a 30-foot alligator. Lake Placid.
I know.
Oh, okay. You're
Yeah.
Lake Placid.
Yeah. Okay.
Totally knows. She's totally in on it.
Yeah. I totally know these hot references.
He was definitely didn't have a co-pilot that was part man, part dog.
What?
Spaceballs.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh my
Barf.
He didn't have a Mog.
Mog.
Yeah. Part man, part dog.
Lucy, if Lucy had been a Mog, she would have been her own best friend, and she would have been such a sad sack. Speaking of sad sacks, Peter has one testicle. What?
Isn't really she is really her own best friend.
Yeah.
Except for the friends she clearly has.
Well, I mean, she goes to talk to Jerry about all of her problems. She hardly ever talks to Celeste.
But then she also goes to a party full of people that know her.
Right. But like, I think those are her, like, a work. It's almost like a work, isn't it? A work party?
It's something to
I
that
don't
effect,
remember
but
that.
you can become legitimate
New
friends
Year's
with
party.
someone you work with. I mean, that's okay.
Yeah.
You shouldn't date them, but you
No.
can be friends with them.
Okay.
That's why Tevis and I would never work together.
I brought up the, I can't look at Tevis' face right now because
Zing!
he's just
What is
he's
that?
sitting there with. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so there are a lot of details in this movie where it like wraps back around to a point, and usually that's cool.
Except when all the points are dumb.
I know it's like like the ice cream thing. Like, what's your favorite ice cream? Baskin Robbins. What the frick?
That doesn't, yeah. And then you're like, that doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't make any sense. And then, of course, the awkward moment with the one testicle story. And it's like, this man bumped into Peter's fiance and decides to tell her about this incident.
Also, let's be real. All Lucy is told is Peter still mad about that? I apologize. I'm a lawyer. I had a pen, pencil, whatever it was when we were playing. I didn't mean to. It was an accident. That literally could have meant anything.
Yeah.
And then they were like, can you prove? And she was like, one testicle. That's what we call swinging for the fences. She could have been so wrong so easily.
Well, I mean, it faded to black so that I think he told her. I think it's implied that the lawyer.
I agree.
Oh, did it? I
Yeah.
thought she ran in the hospital. I did
No.
not pay close
Because
attention.
when he
to
was
this.
going on about, it can happen to anybody. I'm sorry. I apologize. Then it kind of fades to black. So we kind of are left with, what happened?
Oh,
yeah.
What are they talking
Yeah.
about?
And so it wraps back around. But again, it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and usually I really like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But only when the point that they're wrapping back around to is good.
And then the other one. Sorry, Tevis.
No, go ahead.
Okay. And then
Yeah, Tevis, shut the fuck up.
the other one is about how terrible Peter is, actually, because they're flipping through the books at the Christmas.
This is when he saved
he
the
saved the
squirrels.
squirrels.
He saved those squirrels.
After he wakes up from the coma, he confesses to Jack that he knocked the squirrels out of the nest
With a rock.
with a rock and then saved them. What in the actual frick?
Don't say frick.
This man is a psychopath.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, when he said that, I was like, what? This makes no sense.
And I like how even Jack was like, do not ruin the squirrels for me. Like this story was this huge milestone of this huge important event in everyone's lives where Peter saved the squirrels.
I just can't believe it made it in the newspaper and they live in Chicago.
Yeah, that's weird too. Although I guess they didn't necessarily have to grow up in, like, you know what I mean? We don't know where they live necessarily as kids.
Yeah.
So maybe not Chicago.
Maybe not Chicago.
Slow news day.
Would that have made the newspaper anywhere?
In a small town.
Yeah.
Like here in a small town.
And then, so at the Christmas party with the family, Jack's there, he still doesn't trust her, blah, blah, blah. They go to leave, and everyone's like, oh, they're under the mistletoe.
What was up with that?
And I'm like, hey, who actually I've never seen anyone actually hang mistletoe. That's just a movie thing.
Yeah.
And B, you think that she's engaged to his brother, and now everyone's being weird about this mistletoe thing.
It's a common thing, I think, in the 90s rom-com situation.
Yeah.
Where they
Movies.
Yeah, movies. But in this case, yeah, like to your point, she's supposed to be married to Peter. Everyone thinks she's married to Peter. And then they force her and Jack to kiss because they're standing under, because it's tradition. And I'm like, not in this case.
Even the creepy grandmother's like, kiss her. I'm like, ugh.
I'm really sad no one could see your face as you did that. That was so much more of a visual performance.
That's what I do best. Visual performances in audio format.
In audio format. There we are, everyone. So, but I wanted to bring up the mistletoe scene real quick. As with any of their, I guess you would call them date scenes.
Right.
There is absolutely, positively 0% chemistry between Bill Pullman and Sandra Bullock. There is nothing, nada, zip.
They were very awkward.
Yeah.
Especially on the ice when he's walking her home.
It was all so forced.
And even not just forced in the connection together, but why did they have to walk across the ice in the first place? The sidewalks were clear.
Yeah.
I'm like, and then she's like, oh, let's go across here. Be careful. And then they slip and fall, and hug, and oh my God.
And then he ripped his pants, which, what?
Yeah, but who hasn't ripped a pants on a date before?
Me.
Well, aren't you special? And I don't want to talk about this anymore. But no, it's like, man, the way they're not just you can't. The bad writing is bad writing, right? But line delivery in these interactions where they're supposed to be close and it's supposed to be flirtatious, but like the way their body language, there's absolutely no chemistry. Tevis, you had mentioned it off air. It was like they were brother and sister. Like
Oh, yeah.
There's zero romance going on here.
I think the only scene where I thought there was some chemistry was when he demonstrated the leaning thing, to her, and he's leaning in slowly to demonstrate.
But that's because they're now written into the script, forcing them into romantic physical
Right. But
positions.
Right, but after they move,
I didn't want to say positions.
but after they move away from that and they kind of start, having a little argument.
Yeah.
Right. He's like, I just don't think you're Peter's type. And then she turns around, she said, yeah, Jack, whose type am I? And I'm like, ooh, because you learned earlier that Jack actually likes brunettes. So I think that scene has a little bit of chemistry.
I think it's forced. Nope.
Okay.
I think Tevis and I, verbatim, could reenact that scene and have the same amount of sexual tension.
I know we could.
Because we're professionals. But you get what I'm saying?
Hang on one moment. Let me pull up the script.
He was doing the lead. I'm the man in this.
Oh, well, never mind. I don't want to do it now.
If anyone has listened to our Rocky recap, as the man, it doesn't matter what you want. But no, I like Sandra Bullock is fine. She's totally fine. She gets the Shelley Duvall Award for being fine. I typically like Bill Pullman, but not in this movie. Neither of them do anything separately or in the scenes together for me. They don't do anything.
Sandra Bullock in this movie reminded me of the exact same character she played in Speed.
Yeah.
You could have told me that she was taking the bus in Speed to get to her job, at the subway.
Keanu, I have to get to a dinner party being held on by relatives. Well, they're not my relatives. They're relatives of my fiance, but he's not really my fiance because he's this guy who's in a coma that I say, and he would have gone, whoa, right? There's our bad impression of the day.
I think that was pretty good.
Thank you. That's my Keanu.
I thought Keanu was in the room.
I also would like to point out how confusing it is because we're supposed to think that Jack likes her. You're right. But he accuses her of deceiving his family and accuses her of being pregnant in front of the entire party.
And that came because his
younger sister's
friend.
Well, you're skipping. So he heard it from the sister, who heard it from the friend, who heard it from Lucy, who doesn't understand sarcasm, apparently. Yeah. Or I'm sorry, it's not that Lucy doesn't understand sarcasm.
Yeah.
Beth, the friend of the sister, of the brother, of the coma guy, with the eyebrows, of the loser, I'm gone cross-eyed.
Yeah.
I was waiting for Mr. Roper to come up out of one of the apartments and go,
someone was gonna have to pretend to be gay. It was gonna be a whole thing.
Yeah.
Three's Company too.
I was like, oh my goodness. So Jack supposedly is supposed to like this person, but accuses her of everything under the sun.
Well, okay, to me, I saw more like the accusations were in the beginning, and he did not like her in the beginning.
Right. Okay.
But then, as it was the story, air quote, checked out, right? Enough nonsense shenanigans happen that the story becomes viable, and he's like, so I don't have to dislike her. And then he gets to know her. Then he actually starts to like her, and then he doesn't accuse her of being pregnant because he already likes her.
Right.
But now, but he, she's my brother's fiance. I can't do this, but I like this girl, but I can't do this. Oh my God, she's pregnant! And then she burst. He burst in, not so much to tell the family, but it's like, Lucy. I think it was more like, because if she was pregnant with his brother's baby, that is, I think, in his mind, a point of no return as far as there's no chance. He's got no chance with this girl he likes now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he picked her up in his truck to take her to Celeste's party, and he could have talked to her while they were in the truck instead of going into the party with her. Yeah. And then yelling, she's pregnant, to all of her friends.
Yeah. But I think he was still processing or
Okay.
trying to process, right? I'm not excusing it. This movie's not very good. I don't know what to say. So, but I think that's what we're supposed to believe, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
This movie's not very good. And then now we're at the leaning scene. But
Yeah,
again, the leaning
the
scene only
leaning
works
scene.
if there's chemistry between your actors, and there isn't in this one.
'Cause
Also,
wasn't she accusing Jack was accusing Lucy of leaning with
Joe
Joe
Jr.
Jr.
Joe Jr. Yeah,
Because Joe Jr. keeps on popping up in places he should not be popping up in
the entire movie.
the entire movie.
yeah. Well, he has a thing for Lucy.
He does.
so
So
now he's inserting himself as an obstacle between her and Jack.
right,
Yeah,
right.
right.
And not to we'll come back to this, but when she doesn't go to the ice capades with him, he knocks on her door. He goes to her door, knocks on the door, and is like, "You stood me up," walks into her apartment, and then they have a full-fledged conversation about how she did not stand him up.
Yeah,
And then she shoves him into her closet
where he tries her shoes
where
on.
he tries her shoes on.
he didn't try her shoes on. He fell. And then his foot slipped upward like this into the shoe.
Yeah,
That's what
totally
clearly what
total
happened.
accident.
Now here's my part.
Okay.
Why the hell did she hide him in her closet?
I don't
She has
know.
nothing to hide. There's no
reason.
no wrong happening that she's like, oh God, my husband's home. Hide the lover, right? No, there's nothing. He's a neighbor who came into her apartment or whatever. It's fine. There's no reason to hide
she
him.
could have just introduced him to because what was it, Jack?
Saul comes
first, and then it doesn't matter though. Either way, be like, oh yeah, this is my landlord's idiot son,
Yeah,
Joe
this
Jr.
is- This is Joe. He was
Exactly.
just leaving.
Well, it doesn't even end there because she leaves with Jack after, Joe makes a loud noise for whatever he's doing in the closet.
Cat. It
Yeah.
was the cat.
Yeah. And then
Wait,
she
whoa,
says,
big cat.
and then she says, "You know what? I'll come with you." And leaves Joe Jr. in her apartment.
Oh, he definitely smelled her underwear.
I was like, "Oh my gosh, you have way too much trust in this
He
guy."
stole and sniffed her drawers.
Oh yeah,
That
he's got a
happened.
pair in his pocket.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
That he goes to sleep and just inhaling.
Oh my goodness.
Every character in this movie makes every situation worse for no reason.
It's like if you take every idiotic, terrible sitcom-y trope, they do it, and they do it poorly in this movie. It's almost impressive how much crap they cram into this movie.
But we can revisit the leaning scene if you had more to say about it.
No, just leaning only works if you have
Okay.
chemistry, because he's like,
Okay.
you lean, and then he's leaning.
And
But
then-
you can tell Bill doesn't want to lean, and you can tell Sandra doesn't want him to lean, and there's no, you know what I'm saying? You can just tell these are just two cardboard cutouts being pushed together, and there's no interaction whatsoever. But then she does hit him with the "You've become a really good friend" line, and all I wrote was "Oof." Been there, brother. Been there.
Gut
Well,
punch.
that was after Peter wakes up, wasn't it? Because they're in the truck, and she says that things are probably going to change starting tomorrow
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah.
Peter
Because he wakes up.
he wakes up. And
But Jack wants to profess his love, but she hits him with the friend zone. You've been a really good friend. Oh, I was like, man, I feel for you there.
oh my goodness.
Was that after they're walking along and he steps in
doggy poo?
doggy poopy?
Doggy poopy. I forgot about that. Yeah, that is after. Let's just take a moment to appreciate the amazing lines of, oh, how romantic. You just stepped in doggy poopy.
Someone who calls it doggy poopy would be engaged to someone who their favorite song is Puff the Magic Dragon.
If I'm on a date and someone goes, oh, you just stepped in doggy poopy, I go, and this date is over. We are not compatible. Have a lovely evening. And I'm going home, and just be alone. Sad. Maybe I'll
Like
find
Lucy.
maybe I'll find the man of my dreams while I'm at work. Maybe he slips and has a tragic accident, and I can rush in and save his life and ride with him to the hospital. Where I'll meet his family and we'll share intimate details about each other's lives, and they'll take me in as one of their own, all while I desperately try to hide this ruse that I'm not actually part of the family.
Wow.
That sounds like a really good movie.
And you'd be wrong! Actually, if it was starring me and Bill Pullman, we'd have more chemistry.
Oh my goodness.
Even current Bill Pullman.
So, what? One thing that there are many things that I don't understand about this movie, but one thing I definitely don't understand about this movie is that Lucy keeps her passport with her and she wants to go to Florence, Italy at some point in her life,
Sure.
but she hasn't done anything with her life.
Correct.
But she keeps her passport on.
She's holding on to the dream.
She's holding on to the dream.
Because the dream, that was her and her father's dream.
Right.
So
okay.
by holding on to the passport, she's keeping the dream alive, which also, in a way, keeps her father alive, right?
Oh, okay.
She's holding on to whatever connection she can to still have that family.
Yeah.
So it's actually really deep and sad. Thank you for bumming everyone.
And she probably can't afford to save any money because of the shitty wages she gets paid at this job where she just pulls tokens out of this little cup.
Right?
Is that all she does all day?
Well, yeah, but
She just takes the
they've
token.
automated that shit now. So
Yeah.
she wouldn't even have a job now.
Yeah, she just takes the coke.
The Coke?
Coke. It is Chicago.
The token. I was going to say Cotin. Oh my
I
goodness.
prefer Coke.
I've heard that about you. Okay, can we get to the really awkward wedding at the hospital?
I have so many questions about that.
So, okay, to set it up, Eyebrows wakes up. Everyone's like, yeah, Eyebrows is awake. And his godfather, Saul, he's fixing the problem. He's fixing the lies. And he's like, hey, you got this beautiful woman. We all love her. She's a fantastic person. Get to know her. You will fall in love with her. And you will ask her to marry you. So his idea of fixing the problem is to strong arm the lie into reality. And Peter's like, cool, okay.
What? It's like the other thing about Peter is that apparently he remembers everything that ever happened into his life.
Except her.
Except her. So you would think that he'd be like, I don't actually know this person.
He tried, and everyone's like, oh, you have selective amnesia.
Even the doctor.
Yeah.
was in on
So
it.
this poor guy just woke up from a coma only to be told he has selective amnesia. Poor Peter. I mean, he's a bad guy,
He is a
but
bad guy.
He's
but
a terrible
he's
terrible
having
person.
a rough go.
he deserves it.
So
Squirrel Peter.
he proposes, and they're like, "Yeah, let's do it." They're all getting ready in the hospital chapel, and Sandra Bullock shows up in a white dress. I don't know where that came from. I don't know where she got it. I don't know if she's had it forever.
It looks like it was kind of like a thrift store buy. Almost.
Very much.
So.
Fair enough. I'm not going to down anyone for shopping at the thrift store. But she shows up late. She walks down the aisle, whatever, and
By herself.
Right.
Her dad's dead.
Yeah, but I'm like, can somebody...
Hey, lady, where's your dad?
Well, you'd think that Saul or someone would
or
have...
her boss.
Or her boss, Jerry, would...
Who was at the wedding.
Who
He
was at
there.
the wedding. Yeah. And Celeste could have been a bridesmaid. Like, there could have been people.
There was no time. There was no time.
Like, Jack's best man was...
Peter's best man was Jack.
Peter's best man was Jack.
His characters are so interchangeable and pointless.
So it hadn't been that long that this story takes place.
Like a month.
Has Eyebrows' head injury healed up?
No, it's still like a cut.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So it's still pretty quick.
So, but at the wedding, it's super awkward. And then she's like, I object. And he's like, we're not there yet. And you're not supposed to say that. And then Jack's like, I object. And then Peter's real fiance shows up and she's like, I object. Then her husband shows up and it's like, I object.
Apparently, Peter, being the wonderful person that he is, proposed to an already married woman.
Yeah, but they had been having an on-again, off-again affair for years at this point.
But she said yes.
Well,
she
still being married.
She didn't say yes. Well, she said
true.
on the
on the answering
on the
machine.
answering machine was, oh, why not?
Sure, why not?
Because maybe you're married Ashley
Like-
Bartlett Bacon.
Yeah. And then she's like, you can't marry her because you're marrying me. And he's like, you said no. Which, to his point, she said no. That boom, all obligation to her is gone. He can move on. I mean, granted, he moved on too quick, but he had a coma and then the amnesia. So, he's not, and then he had this life-altering epiphany about he's a bad guy and he should stop being a bad guy. But what I'm getting at is he was in a relationship with this woman. He proposed. She said no. I'm on Peter's side. He's free to move on.
Right. Yeah, he totally is. But
And then she's like, well, you proposed to me first. He's like, you said no. That's it.
but
Over.
I just wanted to point out that she left a voicemail on his answering machine saying yes. And
No.
and I'm like,
Sure, why not?
sure, why not?
Not a
Maybe
yes.
because you're married.
Yeah. That poor guy. Also, though, fuck that guy because you got a girl who's cucking you, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then she accepts another dude's marriage proposal while you're still married. You cut that cord and you let her go and you hope that they're miserable together, as they undoubtedly will be, and you move on to better things with your life. You do not fight for that relationship.
No, it's dead.
Yeah.
I feel like that Peter is almost like the black sheep of his family a little bit, because his family is very like wholesome and
Blue collar.
and loving and
Yeah.
and he's just such a terrible person. I'm like, how do you fit in?
So, what? The proclamation comes out. She loves the family, but they were never engaged. It was all this weird cockamamie happenstance, classic misunderstanding. Happened to me last week. I was standing there at the altar going, wait a minute, how'd I get here? Classic misunderstanding. So she leaves, and everyone's like, oh my word. She's at work. She's taking the tokens. When all of a sudden, a ring drops in.
So cute.
Such hokey garbage.
So cute.
And then she looks up and there's Jack and the entire family. And I'm like, that's a little intimidating if you're Lucy, is it not? You're like, whoa, guys.
Well, they're forcing him again, like they're under the mistletoe.
Right? Because they love her, but he loves her. But they can't just date now.
No.
They have to get married.
They've only known
I wrote, it's been a month.
I did, yeah.
It's like maybe we should try actually going on a date first, because
Like an actual
they
date.
haven't actually had a date. Like,
No.
yeah, they've had moments together, but
Not.
they're not. They didn't date.
No.
They-
That's what I wrote too. Is no, they've known each other for 1, maybe 2 weeks,
Yeah.
maybe a month. I guess it might have been a
2 weeks to a month.
Yeah.
Right, because it was Christmas and then it was New Year's.
And then New Year's. But then
Yeah.
we go past New Year's
Yeah.
a bit. So it's been 2 weeks.
yeah. And he just clink. Will you marry me? Like, what?
And then he goes in the booth and she says yes and they kiss while the entire family watches
pretty sure
them kiss.
It just came to me. The grandma's name is Elsie, and she's taking pictures with her
Oh yeah, with her
film
big camera.
camera.
With the big giant flash on
Yeah,
it.
the
she's
flash
like-
cube at the top.
She's like,
Sarah, you don't know what a flash cube is.
you totally know what a flash cube is.
You don't know what a flash cube is.
I took a film photography class in college.
Gross.
It did not pan out well for me.
Is it because you didn't know what a flash cube was?
No, it's because I always exposed my film to light on accident.
That's not supposed to happen.
No, it's not supposed to happen. I almost always had to retake all of my photos.
Because, magic, the artistic magic always strikes twice. So, and they get married. They pull off in the moving van, just married.
Are they on the moving van or are they the subway?
They're on the L,
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're on the train.
which is weird. Again, why?
Well, because
She
the
works.
The subway is what brought them together in
That's true.
kind of a way.
So
Gag.
gross.
So did they get married like next
They
to
got-
the food
They got married on the subway.
on the subway?
Well, that's ridiculous. They obviously, she said yes. They ran back to the hospital, got in the chapel. Everyone who was there before was still there.
I mean, yeah, but
How long do you think that marriage lasted?
he took her to Florence. I hope it lasted.
He took her to Florence, Ohio.
Stamp this in your passport. Bitch, I make dining room furniture. What do you think? I'm not my brother.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good point. How much does dining for how much would that?
The movie covered it. He made a really nice chair.
Yeah. And he had
And-
3 more that people wanted to buy.
And 2 dining tables.
And yeah, X
And he
amount
was
of
like,
time.
this is enough to make a living.
Which, to be fair, a good carpenter making that kind of stuff, especially if you know how to sell it, you can make a nice living. Do you have, we're just going to have a honeymoon in your spontaneous honeymoon in Europe money? I don't know. I'm not a carpenter. I am not gifted with my hands or anything else.
No.
I was about to say,
No.
Tevis, have you tried the carpenter life?
No.
If this podcast doesn't work, should we make furniture?
You can. I'll watch.
That's what you're doing with this podcast. You just
I edit these.
and then every time I'm like, man, what about that? And you're like, oh, I don't remember. I'm like, David.
I don't listen to it while I edit. I just edit it.
You just look for
Oh.
people saying names of towns and shit like that. Inappropriate jokes. You listen for when I call some old lady a bitch. Stupid bitch. You're like, pretty sure he can't say that. Okay.
I wanted,
Go ahead.
just
Sarah.
real quick, I wanted to go back to,
Please, God, no. I don't want to backtrack.
okay,
No, go ahead.
we didn't
go
talk-
ahead. Go ahead.
I think this is like the most chaotic scene in the movie is when they're in the Catholic church and they're
Oh,
doing
yeah.
mass and they talk about like 5 different things, right? And they're sitting down, sitting up, sitting down, and there's a lot of stuff being said where you're just kind of like, what does that mean? And you don't find out till later, like
Yeah, that sounds like Catholic Mass to me.
like when Jack brings up like I want to talk to you about the family business, which also the family business is collecting furniture from people who have passed on.
Yeah, they do estate sales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that
That's a thing.
did that not also okay. I guess I was the only one who thought that was a bit morbid.
It was a little odd,
A little, yeah.
but yeah, I see. You buy a bunch of stuff from. It's almost like flipping.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit more of a morbid side to it, but it's really no different than like going to like what's it called? You know, like the storage locker thing and like people buying up storage lockers or going to auctions.
Yeah.
Or, that kind
Okay.
of thing. But no, there's a little bit more of a morbid side to it. But from a business sense, I mean, how else can you get a complete set of furniture? You know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
so it is what it is.
So they're kind of going back and forth, and then the little sister said something about tell him now he can't kill you in church. And then what is the grandma talking about?
Who knows?
What in the world? She talks about how someone got elected and he still smokes marijuana, and then they all stand up and say amen. And I'm like, that's how the scene ends.
That grandma rambles on about
And then
so much
and then
shit.
Saul is like, I didn't say Cesar Romero was something. I said he was tall. She clearly isn't all there.
My favorite line from her is when they're talking about Peter only having one testicle, and she says, "Well, he has more room in his jockey shorts."
Yeah.
Grandma.
What? That sounds like a grandma.
Yeah, it does
God.
sound like something a grandma would say.
And the other part,
You guys don't know my grandma.
the other part that I kind of thought was funny was when they're all at the dinner table, and there's different conversations going on back and forth at the dinner table, and Jack and Lucy are looking at each other longingly. But the mother,
Zero tension there. Zero.
yeah, you're not wrong. But the mother says multiple times, "These mashed potatoes are creamy."
These mashed potatoes are so creamy.
She was enjoying her mashed potatoes.
I know, but I'm like, yeah, I've been a part of that conversation
Oh my gosh.
at family dinners.
The
Well,
creamy mashed potatoes conversation.
Oh yeah,
Oh my goodness.
Well, nobody likes a lumpy mashed potato.
lumpier the better.
Never. I was about to make a really old reference using a really bad joke I just thought of, but I'd be the only one to giggle, so it doesn't matter. We're just gonna move
Oh,
on.
no, go ahead. No, I'll wait. Go ahead.
You like your mashed potatoes like you like your Leave It to Beaver characters. Lumpy! Boom! Lumpy Rutherford, everyone. Eddie Haskell's friend.
That is
That's a deep
is that older than Mr. Ed?
about the same time, I think.
Damn.
I don't know. Once you get to a certain point, all the shows are black and white. It's all the same to me.
Nope. I wouldn't have been able to pull Lumpy out of the
Oh.
cast.
His name is Lumpy Rutherford. And I expect you to put some respect on it.
I am so lost in this conversation.
Because you're a child. Get away from me.
You asked me to be.
It's your fault.
Well, what else is new? All right, can I ask you guys about final takeaways? Can we put this one to bed?
I have one more thing I want to talk
I
about.
hate you so much. I hate you so much right now.
What's your take on the stairwell scene where it's like the night before the wedding, and Jack goes to see Lucy in her apartment. He gets her a gift, and it's the snow globe of Florence, Italy, and then he goes to leave, and she follows him out there, and she asks, "Is there any reason why I shouldn't marry your brother?" And he says, "I can't." And I'm like, "What?" Why didn't you say anything? Because he said something like the next day at the wedding where he says, "I object," but he could have said something the night before, and we didn't have to live through this awful wedding scenario.
So, a couple of things. Unless Tevis, do you want to interject?
You go ahead. I'll elaborate on.
Okay,
Yours.
so he says no, or he's got nothing, or whatever. Because at the end of the day, at this time, she is still his brother's girl, and he is a good brother. You can't just snipe your brother's girl.
Okay.
And so he knows he wants her,
Mm-hmm.
but he can't cross that line. He can't screw his brother like that. So he says he wants to, but he can't give her a reason not to marry him. Then at the wedding, she objects first.
Okay.
So she's essentially calling off the wedding,
Mm-hmm.
and then he piles on. She
yeah.
opened the door, so he went through it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think he probably would have said something towards the end of the wedding
Mm-hmm.
when the objection is normally brought up.
He might have done it anyway.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
because he knows, this is the last chance I'll have. But to your point, yeah, he's not gonna at that time and the day before, he's not gonna stomp on his brother
Okay.
because he is the good guy.
He
Yeah.
is. He's so much
He's
better
just not
than-
the one the family loves.
Yeah,
which is so odd. It's so odd to
they
me.
like the successful one.
The squirrel saver.
Yeah.
It's so awful.
All right, can we get to final thoughts, please?
Yes.
I don't want to talk about this movie anymore. Sarah, you are our guest. I will let you start. So, while you were sleeping, good, bad, overrated, underrated, creamy middle, is it worth the ticket price? Take us home.
Okay.
Creamy middle, Tevis.
Just like those mashed taters.
So creamy. Lumpy Rutherford.
So I really enjoy this movie, I like the wholesome family. I almost love all of the scenes with the family in it. As chaotic as they are, I think they're super realistic to family gatherings. I do enjoy some of the more gushy, feely scenes. I will say that I think this movie, wrapping it back up to the beginning, I think it deserves like a 6.8. Like it's I think it's a good movie, but it's not something that you have to watch.
So is it worth the ticket price?
It's probably not worth the ticket price.
Right. If you're a rom-com aficionado,
Mm-hmm.
if you haven't seen it, check it out. You may enjoy it.
Yeah.
But if this isn't really your cup of tea anyway, is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, I'm getting that. Yeah. If you like rom-coms, you'll probably like this movie because it's got like a mishmash of all of the rom-com.
It's mishmash, all right.
It's a mishmash. But otherwise, I wouldn't recommend.
Tevis?
I am actually a fan of rom-coms. There are a few that I will watch every couple years.
I didn't think you believed in love. I thought that had just been stomped out of you.
Love doesn't believe in me. This was missing. It had the rom part, but it was missing the com part. There was.
Wait, are you taking the pin out of our? We put a pin in this.
Yeah.
You're pulling the pin out.
Yeah, I'm taking the pin out.
All right. You didn't preface it. I was unprepared.
I'm sorry. Sorry, I should have said pin is coming out.
Wait,
Say that faster,
wait,
Tevis.
I don't. Wait a minute.
The pin is coming out.
Penis coming out. Got it.
The penis is coming out.
We all heard it.
Yeah.
To be fair, we do appreciate the heads up.
Yeah. Hurt your eyes.
Don't stare directly into the penis.
Jesus.
No, continue your penis
Oh my
talk.
God. If we ever do Babe, you got to come and
Oh my
be a
god.
part of that one.
Mean.
Oh, sorry.
Zing.
That was inappropriate.
I'm saying zing.
Oh, God. There was, I really enjoyed the grandma. She was funny. The family, they were fine. They were just fine.
Totally fine.
Sandra Bullock was, it's like every character she's played in every romantic comedy she's ever been
Bird
in.
Box?
Bird Box. Oh,
Bird Box?
Yeah. She played the exact same character in Bird Box. No, but like you said, there was no chemistry between Bill Pullman and her. The Joe Jr., I hated that guy. Absolutely hated every moment he was in on screen.
Wait, is that because he's a bad character, or is that because the actor did such a good job at portraying a bad? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it actually a great performance that makes us hate him?
It's the Paulie
situation
all over again.
Wait, you're saying Joe Jr. is as bad as Paulie?
Not as bad, but
Okay.
it could have. If there was a sequel to this, I'm pretty sure they would bring Joe Jr. back, and he would be just as annoying. And he's gonna go into alcoholism. We already know this.
Go into?
Yeah, he's not an alcoholic yet.
He isn't?
No.
Okay.
Joe Jr.?
He dabbles.
Yeah, he probably here and there. But I remember, like I said, I remember watching this once before, and I watched it, and it went out of my memory. I think it's going to be the same way here. I cannot recommend this. If you like Sandra Bullock, fucking watch Speed. Watch The Blind Side.
Oh, The Blind Side is good.
Watch Gravity. Anything. Don't watch Premonition. Miscongeniality,
Oh,
even. I like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't watch this. Skip it. Watch While You Were Sleeping. Or not While You Were Sleeping.
Don't watch
While You Were Sleeping. Watch Sleeping with the Enemy.
You're still getting them mixed up.
Yes. So no, I cannot recommend this. It's not worth the ticket price.
All right. So I don't really have anything else to add. This is a movie I'd never heard of. I went into it completely blind. Honestly, if I had been given spoilers, I don't think it would have mattered. See, though, the penis talk. I'm pulling the penis. Pin is
coming out.
Oh no, my pin is. For me, this movie had no rom. It had no com. It just was. It was a thing I had to watch. This is the first. This would go down in the record books of the show. This is the first movie I got so bored that I pulled out my phone and started playing Mahjong. Because I was like, I don't care. Nothing's happening. I don't care. This movie sucks. So, is it the worst movie we've ever done? Not by a long shot.
Oh, no.
But is it worth the ticket price? No.
You had to think.
Well,
Or was you taking a breath?
No, it was a thought because I watched it for free, right? Like if you have Disney Plus, it's on there.
Your time's not worth anything?
Well, it's worth more than this movie. but we're not talking about time. I'm talking about dollars and cents, right?
Okay.
Like if you're like, I'll check it out. I guess I wouldn't. Watch Bluey.
Yeah, absolutely. Watch Bluey.
Watch season 3 and get caught up. So, no, sorry, Sandra. While you were sleeping is not worth the ticket price, but that's all I got, guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we ready to pull out the hat?
Quick question before we
Oh,
move
my
on.
God. I don't want to talk about this movie.
It's not about the movie.
Oh, okay. Is it about pins?
Nothing is coming out.
Well, thank the Lord for that.
We're in mixed company, Tevis. We have a guest.
We can't. That's the way we normally end all the episodes.
Just a lot of whipping out.
Yeah. We have a sword fight at the end.
Oh, gosh. Is it a fight to the death?
Not yet.
That's our last episode.
That's right. Next one.
It's when we do Braveheart.
Oh, my gosh.
Rob Roy.
Okay, so you said this isn't the worst movie we've reviewed.
No.
What, in your opinion, is the worst movie we've reviewed?
Hold on. Let me go through. Oh, God. Gremlins. Hold on. Still looking. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Still looking. Young Guns. That was a turd. Still looking. Hold on. Last Voyage of the Demeter. Ooh. Good. Rocky. Indie. Avatar. We've got some real turds on this list. Worst movie is probably Gremlins.
Really?
Yeah, Gremlins has absolutely no redeeming value whatsoever, and that's all I have to say about it. I'm not getting into Gremlins again.
The snow is water.
I would shut up. I know it's wet. Don't tell me. Wait, what the fuck is his name? God damn it. Here I am going back through my goddamn notes. Tell Chris Columbus, the writer of tell Joe Dante, the director of goddamn Gremlins, that snow is water. If the gremlin goes out in the fucking snow, he's gonna have all of his fucking bubonic plague build up, and it's gonna crap out more gremlins, and they're gonna be born, and then they're gonna immediately crap out more gremlins because they keep falling in snow, because snow is hardened water. It's water in a solid form. Damn it!
Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
Gremlins is my answer to your question, Tevis. That would be Gremlins. It's the worst movie we've done so far, in my humble and totally calm opinion.
Okay.
What is your least favorite? What is
Wow.
the worst movie we've done? Indiana Jones.
No.
Last Voyage of the Demeter.
Alopecia Man Bat.
Fucking alopecia man bat. Still would have been better if he just had full dick. Just flying around with full dick in the air.
That would have made it
Gosh.
an instant classic.
Would have made it better.
Would have made it better.
Oh, where's the hat? I don't want to talk about Gremlins. I don't want to talk about Sleeping with the Enemy. I don't want to talk about these movies.
While you were sleeping.
What happened? This movie happened
This
while I
movie
was sleeping.
what we were reviewing.
All right. Do you want to pull or you want me to pull?
Go ahead.
All right. Reaching around, and
Please don't do a reach around.
we're in mixed company. I'll wait. Sarah gonna need you to go upstairs.
I'm still tied to the chair.
Well, it's about to get real awkward. Just don't make eye contact. Ooh. Well, I think I just pulled the best movie we've ever done on the show.
What?
Tombstone. Kurt Russell.
Fucking A.
Kurt Russell.
Val
Kilmer.
Kilmer. Sam Elliott. Bill Paxton.
Billy P.
Billy P. Michael Behan.
Bean?
Behan.
Bean?
Sure.
Mikey B. And
Billy P.
Scott Lang.
And Scott Lang.
Ike Clanton.
No, not Scott Lang. Stephen Lang.
That's what I said.
No, you said Scott Lang.
I'm pretty sure I didn't.
That's Ant-Man.
So, fucking Ant-Man. They're doing it for Cassie. All right. I'm Jake. That's Tevis. Guest star Sara. If you like Sara, let us know in the comments. We'll kidnap her again. It wasn't that hard. You should carry more personal security devices. Pepper spray's a bitch.
Okay.
So, taser, not that bad. Hit me in like the kind of upper thigh area. It's kind of like, ooh, it's like a party in my pants.
Somebody help me.
It's the kind of a thing, right?
Somebody please help me.
Pepper spray's a bitch. No, we're going to be looking at Tombstone next. So, on behalf of everyone here at Ticket Price, thank you all for listening, and tune in next week. Good night.